What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Zach. This one goes for everyone, and it says this: no matter whether you have a physical disability or non physical disability, treat everyone the same. Don't just look at someone with a physical disability and think, I don't know about this. And that's where, a lot of people really screw up. And no, I'm not trying to call nobody out on this, but that's where a lot of people really screw up. And I'm not saying that screw ups aren't okay. It happens. We all do. Even I've screwed up many times. But think about it this way. Maybe you're someone that's walking and you see someone that's in a wheelchair, and that person in a wheelchair asks you out. Be real with them. Don't just, sit there and say, well, I can't today. I'm just taking a break. In other words, don't make up excuses. I get it 100% that people in wheelchairs, it might look different to someone that is walking. But in all reality, guess what? There's no difference. The only difference, if anything, is one person is sitting down and one person's walking. That's the only difference. Now, I get it, some people or some disabilities, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more that disability might affect. In other words, like I've explained to you, many times, with my level 1 spina bifida, it just affects my balance. Well, there's 4 different levels. And, the higher the level, like if you go to like level 2, level 3, level 4, the higher the level, the more things affect. The more it's effective. The more effects they have. Like for me, it's just my balance. And that's the only reason I'm not up walking. Because that's all my level 1 spina bifida affects. Now, level 2, level 3, it may not allow you to walk at all. It may not allow you to speak at all, or talk, in other words. But you know what? Just because of that doesn't make a person any different. Because even then, we're all still 100% human with a 100% different story about us. And I'm not saying that just for me. Everybody. That goes for people walking. It's just like I've told you this before. I know I've mentioned it a couple times, or more than a couple. I got a buddy of mine that was born with cerebral palsy. Now, because of his disability, he got a lot of judgment from females and just everyday people. And that there's no point to that. There's no reason for that, in other words. Because even with that disability, he's up walking. Yeah, it may be may not be straight. A little bit of a balance problem, but you know what? We're still 100% human. And you know what? As of, I'd say, 10 years ago now, it's been maybe over 10. He came and told me about the ones that he got bullied and how scared he was of this bully. And you know what? I stepped in. I stepped in because, you know what? Something, it just said, you know what? You got to step in because this ain't right. Because here you got somebody that's walking, yet it may not be a straight walk, maybe, you could, with his disability, but that don't mean that he's any different. That don't mean that nobody's any different. Just because I'm in a wheelchair doesn't make me any different than anybody else. I might have a different look, obviously, because I'm sitting down. But with that said, take the chair away from me, and what do you have? A 100% human with a 100% different, but 100% true story about us. And like I said, that's one reason I tell you a little bit about of all I've went through, is to not to try to brag or nag, but to hopefully hope you understand, look, no matter your disability, you're just as equal as everyone else. You might have to go about something or some things, depending on what your disability is, you might have to go about some things differently. And that's 100% okay. And it sucks. But again, I'm hoping after this YouTube video, after I upload it, I hope things, I really hope it opens up the eyes when I upload this on Facebook or on YouTube. But again, I see this because, I see a lot of people get mistreated for absolutely no freaking reason. No reason at all. And I say this because, you know what? Yes, as someone in a wheelchair, I've been there. I've been through all that hell. And it literally sucks. It sucks. And again, with that said, no, a lot of people may not understand those things. But again, it's because those people that don't understand, that may not understand, they haven't been through it. They haven't dealt with things that somebody or others in wheelchairs or that we deal with, and it's a different outlook for us because, like I said, as someone that's in a wheelchair, we're no different. We have to get around different in some cases. Just getting from point A to point B. But just because we get around different doesn't make us any different. And I think I think as well, a lot of people don't really understand is no matter someone's disability, look beyond that disability and look at that person, really try to study that person as and look at them as someone without a wheelchair, or without a walker, or without a walking cane or crutches, and focus really on that person. And in my eyes at least, I guarantee that you'll see that is a 100% human, a 100% different, but 100% true story about them. And I think, with that said, when you really focus on a person, whether they have a physical disability, like myself, which is, again, sitting down, and like I said, only because of my balance, is on my level 1 spinal bifida effects. Like I said, the higher the number on the level of spinal bifida. So again, if it's level 2, level 3, level 4, the higher the number, the more the more there is to that disability. That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people see others in wheelchairs and either maybe walkers or crutches, and think, that person's got a disability, I can treat them like this, and there's they won't care. But let me tell you this: a person with a disability really isn't a disability. A person with a disability is just a person. It's a 100% human with a 100% true story about us. So with that said, again, think of it this way. No, I'm thinking more. Think of a person with a disability as a person with a 100% different, 100% true story about them. In other words, don't focus on the disability. Focus on the person, not the disability. My whole life, I'm 36. Wow, time went by fast. But just because I'm in a wheelchair, I've never actually been on dates, relationships, anything. And yes, I've gotten told because I'm in a wheelchair many times. Now, no, a lot of people, won't say nothing. Don't they don't say, you're in a wheelchair. Nah, I don't. I get that. A lot of people are already taken, or, and I get that. But as someone that's sitting in a wheelchair, you see things a lot differently. Like I said, I've gotten called fake. I've gotten called roller boy. Especially when I asked someone out about 6 years ago now. It's been that person actually waited until I turned my back after I asked them out, and was, and continued to leave the place that I was at, and then call me fake. and pointed. And what a lot of people don't realize, those kind of things, believe it or not, those kind of things really stick with you. How you treat someone says a lot, because, and remember this, how you treat someone really sticks with them. You know, that'll really mess with someone's mind more than some people may know, or, even if there's some people out there that just don't care. But these are like things that I've noticed as well. Because like I said, I've been through it. I've saw people get treated like that, and it's just like, wow. So with that said, whether a person has a physical disability, whether they're in a wheelchair or walking with a walker, walking with crutches, or walking with a walking cane, or anything, remember this: that person that's walking with a walker, or walking with crutches, or walking with a walking cane, or even in a wheelchair, that person is 100% human, just like you. The person that's already been, that's walked their whole life, that person that's in a wheelchair, or walking with a walker, or crutches, or a walking cane, they're just like you. 100% human, just like you. And the thing of it is, just because someone has a disability, depending what that disability is, I'll say it that way. Just depending on what that disability is, they might have to do something, or we might have to do something, a lot, different, depending on what that disability is. For me, one thing I have to, that I have to do different, like when driving, is I use hand controls, because my foot reaction isn't as fast as what somebody else's, foot reaction is. So that's why I use hand controls. Again, like if I go somewhere or whatever, if I'm going, if I'm driving somewhere or whatever the case may be, when I go get in the truck, I gotta put the wheelchair, I gotta lift myself up, and then I gotta reach down and pick the wheelchair up and load the wheelchair up. Which is one reason why it's taken me so long to, to be able to, get back to where I'm able to get in the truck. As I explained to you, a while back, when I had my pneumonia. When I had my pneumonia, that zapped me. That took a lot of my strength. And it's just taken a long time to get back. So a lot of people don't, may not understand that. But again, that's 100% understandable, because we're not, some people don't go through that. Some people, as a person walking, I'll put it that way, a person walking, that's walked their whole life, may not understand that. So a person walking, or that's walked their whole life, it may look a lot different than it does to the person with the disability, and again, with that said, a person with a disability might not understand why a person walking is like that, like they are. Maybe, they're judgmental or whatever the case may be, or that person walking might not understand something about that person in a wheelchair or crutches, or, walking with crutches or walking with a walker or even a cane. And that's okay not to understand. But it's still the same thing when you ask questions. Because when you ask questions, that's how you learn. Now, with that said, again, yes, I am trying to make this into a working, paying job. Because this is something that I love doing. I love being able to motivate, inspire, and help as many people as I can. And with that said, some things that you have been through, so have I. Just like one of those things was a while back, I had someone comment on one of my YouTube videos. I'm not sure if I kept that one up or not, because I had to delete a lot. I deleted a lot because I had to change my content around. And I don't know if I accidentally deleted that one or not. I have to look. But with that said, again, no matter a person's disability, we're all the same. We're all 100% human. We just have a 100% different, but 100% true story about us. It's okay to ask questions. If you don't understand, ask questions. But that's what a lot of people, I feel like, don't understand. No matter a person's disability, behind that, disability is a person that wants to just be treated as equal as everyone else. And that's what I try to, that's the way I try to be. In other words, if I see someone with a disability of any kind, I try to, I treat them just as normal as everyone else. No matter what their disability is, I treat them just like everyone else. Or I treat them how I was born and raised, which is love, respect, honesty, trust, loyal, faithful, commitment to that one person, or, to multiple people. And the reason I say it like that is because everybody needs to be treated equal. 100% equal. And that's how I try to treat people. And that's how I treat people, is 100% equal. Because you know what? I've been there. I've been there with, knowing how it is to get picked on, lied to, led on, judged, bullied. I've been through it. And I know exactly how it feels. And it sucks. And you know what? I would rather me go through it than somebody else. Because I don't wish that on nobody. I mean, no, I don't want to go through it either, but I'd rather me being the one, that's judged and picked on, more than somebody else. Because I don't wish that on nobody. But as someone in a wheelchair, it happens. So always remember that. No matter a person's disability, behind a person's disability is a person with a 100% different, or 100% true story about them. So remember this: your disabilities don't define you. You as a person define you. And maybe you're someone that's been, had a lot of down days or down years, depending on what the situation is. But you know what? That's okay. Because you're just someone that went through a lot. And no, a lot of people might not understand that. But again, a lot might still understand that. And trust me, that one I know from experience. Because I've lost a lot of people that I've known over the years because of, the low days that I've had. But again, remember this: a person with a disability, they're just like you. We're all 100% human with a 100% different, but 100% true story about us. So no matter what a person's disability is, look at that person as a 100% human. They're 100% different, but 100% true story about them. Depending, like I said, what their disabilities are, that person might have to go about something completely different than everybody else. And you know what? That's okay. Just for example, as someone, that's in a wheelchair, even I myself can have kids with one woman, of course, or whatever the case may be. Now, in that case, I have to do things probably a little bit different. It just depends on what the situation is. As someone can do, I log off the side like when I'm thinking. But as someone, or it could be someone that runs track or swims a mile in in a swimming pool. Just depends on what the situation is. We people that are with a physical disability, we can do just as much as you. Yeah, we have to go about things a little bit different. And in some cases, yes, a lot different, depending on what that disability is. But behind that disability is a 100% human with a 100% different, but also 100% true story about them. And like I said, that goes for dating, that goes for relationships, that goes for working somewhere, that goes for anything. So with that said, keep that in mind, that your disabilities don't define you. You define you. Now, with that said, again, you might see somebody that has a lot of rough days, or a lot of, things that they've been through. And they see it too, as well as what I'm saying here is they know their disability doesn't define them. But again, they've had so many things happen, so many jerks, I'll put it that way, from bullies or, people that were judgmental. As far as, trying to ask somebody out on a date or whatever the case may be. But always remember, you're 100% equal. But the 100% different, but 100% true story. So keep being you. And let nothing or no one hold you back. Like I say, remember this. Again, your disability or disabilities don't define you. You define you. And again, I know that might be tough, for some people to understand. Especially, for people that maybe haven't been through, a disability or disabilities. It can look a lot different. But remember, like I said, disabilities don't define people. A disability is just part of somebody. That's what they've been through, or maybe how they was born, or maybe, had a accident that caused their disability. Maybe it's a wreck or whatever the case may be. But let me tell you something. No matter a person's disability, think about how that person was before that disability. If you look at somebody that's up walking 100%, and all at once, now you see them in a wheelchair. Think about how that person was before that wheelchair. They're a person, right? And now they have a wheelchair. Guess what? Again, 100% different, but 100% true story about them. And again, it's okay if you don't understand something. Ask. Because that's, again, how you learn. So keep being you and let nothing or no one hold you back. And yet, can say, yes, I am trying to, more and more trying to turn this into a working paying job, because I love to help people. With anything that you go through. Again, it might be something that I understand because I've been through it, or maybe it's something that I don't understand, that I have because I haven't been through it. But even when I haven't been through it, I will still give you my my advice on how I would handle it. In other words, I will try to put myself in your shoes and say, okay, look, I've never been through this disability, but this is how this disability is. Because a person, like I said, with a disability is just a person. It's just a 100% human with a 100% different story. So again, that disability that you have, whether it's physical or non-physical, you're a 100% human with a 100% different but 100% true story about you. And again, your disabilities, they're just part of your story. It's not who you are. Your disabilities are just part of your story. And with that said, yes, some days you're going to have a lot of rough days, and some days it's going to be no rough days at all. Just depends. But nobody or no disability defines you. You define you. So keep going. And always, like I said, remember, your disability doesn't define you. Your disabilities are just part of who you are. I mean, that's just part of what you were, the cards you were dealt with. So keep being you and let nothing or no one hold you back. Again, if there's anything that you would like to hear, let me know in the comments, and I'll get that done for you. Also, when I respond to your comments, and I see that you also have a YouTube channel, and I see that I'm not subscribed to your YouTube channel, I will subscribe to your YouTube channel as well. And even if I am subscribed already to your YouTube channel, I will still always reply to your comments. So again, with that said, keep going, keep being you. Much love, and let's get it.